Blizzard just nerfed Sojourn and Doomfist in the upcoming patch. Flats gave us a preview of the hotfix changes that are coming today, and with it is a lot of different balancing. We're just going to work down all the changes we got in the preview of today's patch notes, and while I'm recording this, the patch notes will probably come out, so let's go ahead and get into it. Christmas time is here, and Santa has left in your stocking an easy and quick way to get to GM. There has never been a better time to get your membership to GameLeap.com. You can use code SANTA at checkout and get 50% off. Not only that, not only will you get access to everything, but 10 people will be picked for a free VOD review from our top coaches. That is an insane amount of value, so hurry up and click on the link right now and get your membership today. Okay, so starting us off at the top, Doomfist, who has been an absolute high pick character right now. He is all over ranked in every rank pretty much. He is getting some serious nerfs, which honestly I think might be a little bit overkill since he was so bad for so long, but you know, we'll see how it goes. For starters, they have reverted the cooldown change to his rocket punch. Previously it was 4 seconds. It's been like that for a very long time. They bumped it down to 3 in the last buff to him, and now it's going back up to 4 again. Honestly, I do think that this is a good change because he has a stun attached to it now, and having a 3-second stun is just insane. So especially if they're trying to keep up with the whole less CC and just less stuns in general and Overwatch 2 vibe that they were going for, then this is definitely a good change. This stays in line with that balancing philosophy, so I'm at least happy to see this one. The next thing that they nerfed was power block. His minimum damage mitigated required to empower his rocket punch has been increased from 80 to 100 damage. This is also a slight reversion of one of the previous buffs that they gave to him. It's interesting that they did not rebuff his empowered fist off of this, because they did actually nerf his empowered punch when they made that power block change. So it's kind of weird to see that, you know, on one hand they've reverted the changes to the power block, but they didn't revert the changes that they made that were to the power of the empowered punch. And finally, they have reduced the temporary health gained per target hit with abilities on Doomfist's the best defense passive from 40 to 35 health. Honestly, this was already a small change. I don't really see this being that big of a deal. The previous two were much bigger, and they've definitely nerfed Doomfist pretty hard with this patch. I don't really see how Doomfist is going to compete with some of the better tanks, especially Orisa, who got some pretty big buffs, which we'll get to in just a second. But another change that was mentioned on the stream from the developer, which is not present in these patch notes, is that Roadhog is not going to be able to one-shot anymore. I had issues finding exactly what he said about when this sort of a change is going to come, but it seems like it's not going to be in this patch on December 15th, but will be coming sometime in January. So yeah, as we've talked about before on this channel, we can definitely expect some massive Roadhog changes and some serious nerfs to come, which is definitely some welcome news to the community because Hog has been running wild lately. Okay, going back to that preview that we mentioned, Orisa getting some buffs. Her Terra Surge, which is her ultimate, now pierces through barriers upon impact. This is a surprisingly massive change that I'm really surprised isn't getting more people talking about it right now. I guess because the Doomfist changes are much more in your face. But being able to simply use your ult and slam people through Winston bubbles, through Reinhardt shields, whatever, that is massive. That is a very big deal. It really kind of just leaves Immortality Field, Beat Drop, and Kiriko ult as the only solutions to Terra Surge, and all of those require a lot of timing and can be outplayed pretty easily by Orisa. And if you've been playing in, or at least paying attention to, really high-level play, Orisa has started to be picked up a lot more often because of her power and her stun and her ability to beat a character like Roadhog. They've also given her an increased damage fall-off range from 15 to 25 meters, meaning that she'll be able to deal more damage further out, which is just fantastic. So yeah, overall some really solid changes to Orisa. I'm super excited to play more of her. I think that in her current build, she's actually a pretty healthy for the game tank, and I think that honestly we might see an Orisa meta coming up soon. But if it's not going to be Orisa, it is going to be Ramattra. So Ramattra is getting some buffs after many people, myself included, called him kind of a mid-tier tank. For starters, his Nemesis form now gives you a 20% increase to movement speed. On top of that, it has also had its armor bonus increased from 150 to 225. So now you are fast and even tankier than you were before. And if that wasn't enough for you, if that wasn't enough to push Ramattra into the bounds of being meta, they've also given him a cooldown reduction on his Void Barrier from 15 to 30 13 seconds. This is absolutely massive. The two main complaints that people had about Ramattra is that he couldn't close distance because his barrier wasn't good enough, and his nemesis form didn't provide any mobility, so he couldn't really catch up to you. He couldn't really run up to you. He doesn't have a dash or a leap or anything like someone like Monkey does. So Blizzard buffing both of these elements, giving him not only mobility but also an improved barrier, is huge, because now he's going to be much better. He's going to be much more effective at closing distance and actually holding it. Moving on, we finally got some real Sojourn nerfs, not some just, you know, sub changes or like a side buff like they gave with the last one. No, these are just straight up absolutely nerfs. For starters, her primary fire spread has been increased by 28%, which if you don't know what that means, it simply means it's going to be less accurate. It'll have a wider pattern as to where the projectiles will actually go on her primary fire. So yeah, that's definitely a good change. Her disruptor shot no longer slows enemy movement, which is also a fantastic change. And finally, her power slides cooldown has been increased from 6 seconds to 7 seconds. Now, to be clear, I don't think that these changes are going to be enough to really nerf her where people want her to be, but honestly, they're a good start. They really are. I think the only other change is just reverting the increased railgun charge speed on her ultimate, and definitely just like her railgun charge in general. It's just too strong. And with the previous changes, they kind of just made her easier. They didn't really make her worse or better. They just lowered the skill floor a lot, which is really kind of problematic because she was already getting a ton of value as is. And then lowering the skill floor just means more people can do that now, and that just doesn't make the character any more fun to play against, and if anything, it makes it worse. But I digress. These are some good changes. They definitely have nerfed her in various ways, so you know, hopefully they continue to tweak her as we go. I don't think it will be enough, but you know, I could be wrong. As for Tracer, they have reduced her damage on her pulse pistols from 6 to 5.5. So this isn't a total reversion of the buff they gave her before, where they moved her pulse pistol damage up from 5 to 6. And I honestly think this is also a good change. It's enough to make it so that she still feels strong, but I think she was a little too strong this past patch. She's already a character that can kind of uniquely play by herself. She doesn't really need a ton of team pressure to be able to just completely pop off, so you know, giving her a little touch is great on this. Our next changes come to Ana, who has had her damage and healing increased from 70 to 75. This is interesting because now she can two-shot Tracer, and also the extra healing is very nice. You know, it's just a good buff for her primary fire. And then furthermore, they made the effect duration on her biotic grenade increase from 3 to 4 seconds, which is honestly a pretty hefty buff. I think that this is a bit unnecessary. I get it's a lot weaker due to Suzu from Kiriko, but like, man, 4 seconds is just a lot. And speaking of Kiriko, they also have reduced the invulnerability duration on the protection Suzu. But it's definitely safe to say that this is also a very welcome change, and I'm super happy to see that they're willing to touch up Kiriko because she is extremely powerful. She's just a must pick, and it's always my opinion that having a must pick character on any role is just always going to be bad for the game. But anyway, that's all the changes we have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more news and educational guide content, and I will see you all again very soon. Take care and peace. Christmas time is here, and Santa has left in your stocking an easy and quick way to get to GM. There has never been a better time to get your membership to GameLeap.com. You can use code SANTA at checkout and get 50% off. Not only that, not only will you get access to everything, but 10 people will be picked for a free VOD review from our top coaches. That is an insane amount of value, so hurry up and click on the link right now and get your membership today.